Party people, welcome once again to another episode of For the Players. I'm K Murdoch, that's Harvey Newman, and we are your host, representing Proxima Studios. And man, I'm really excited to talk to you. I mean, I'm always excited to spend some time talking to Harvey about games and how we make them. But this idea just popped up. I was telling Harvey while I was taking a shower early. It's like I get the best ideas in the shower. Well, at least I think they're the best ideas. And it basically came from, I've been seeing, you're always getting tagged, especially on social media. Someone's like, can you believe this is the 20th or the 30th anniversary of this game? And I was like, wow, let me just do some research. So I went to Google. I typed in games that released in 1994. Then I did games that released in 2004, games that released in 2014. So basically, this episode of For the Players, we're going to revisit, because this is the year of 2024. I want to revisit games that are celebrating like these I call them diamond kind of anniversary milestones. In music, when you say diamond certification, that means 10 sold. So something is double diamond, that means it's 20, right? So I don't really know if they do the same thing in gaming, but F it. I'm just applying my knowledge of, what the industry I know. So that being said, I decided to list and I'll start from 10 year. I'll talk about 3 games and some honorable mentions. And Harvey has no idea what games I picked. And, we'll share like our thoughts, maybe some cool anecdotes about the games if that comes to mind. But yeah, I have 10 year, 20 year, 30 year. And believe it or not, because games are that old now and we're that old too, games that are some amazing games that are celebrating their 40th anniversary of being in existence, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That as old as us, man.
As old as us, guys in our mid 40s, I'll just leave it at that.
No specifics.
Yes. All right. So where do you want to start? Should we start all the way back, like 40th anniversary, 1984? Should we go up to games that are celebrating from 2014?
I think that let's go from like the earliest to the oldest.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah. All right. So, and now mind you, there was a list. I didn't want to I could have named, this show would have been forever if I just picked all the games and run them off. But so I just picked like 3 because I like 3 is the magic number. I like prime numbers. Yep. I picked 3, and then I picked a couple honorable mentions too. But the 3 I picked were the ones that I know I played and that I might have some kind of insight on. So, and these are in no order. 40th anniversary games. Do you want to take a guess of a game that might be celebrating its 40th anniversary?
40th? Oh, so we're doing the oldest first?
Yeah. Oh, you said you want to start. Okay, you want to start with the 10 year? Okay, all right. Let me go back up to my list then. Okay. Do you want to take a guess of a game that's celebrating a 10-year anniversary?
Oh man, it's probably a game that I think it probably came out last year, but it was 10 years ago. I want to say Uncharted or something like that.
No, Uncharted. Well, no, Uncharted. The last Thief's End was 2015. So this would be a year before. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and say it. This game was probably one of the last games I really played. And I remember this because my daughter was born New Year's Eve. My oldest daughter was born over 10 years ago on New Year's Eve, 2014. And the game I was playing when my wife was like, hey, we need to go to the hospital. I was literally online gaming with a friend of mine. So this game always stands out. It's Destiny. The first Destiny came out.
Oh, snap.
That was PS4. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy. 10 years already? And they did a lot in 10 years, though.
I know.
They did a lot in 10 years. That's
because they did with Destiny 2, then all these different DLCs, and the team has changed for Bungie, and Yeah.
Oh,
do you have any memories of? I obviously.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go first. Okay, go first. I'll share mine after.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just remember I was really playing games more like landline games like Halo and stuff like Doom in college. So Destiny, we had been playing games online through Xbox Live and stuff before then, but Destiny, we all got excited because Bungie, the team that made Halo, this was like the next iteration. They had different classes, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so cool. And then I remember getting into it and doing like the weekly raids with my friends and all that stuff. But it all came to a screeching halt because again, when my wife was like, we need to go to the hospital. I think my water broke. um, that was the last night. I remember talking online to a friend of mine. I was like, "Yo, dude, I think I'm about to have my daughter's almost here." And they were like, "What?" Like, dude, we're in the middle of killing a boss. And I was like, "I gotta go." Like, I just turned off the PS.
Which one is more important, right?
Yeah, yeah. It would have been really bad if I was like, "Yo, she can wait. Let me just finish like this raid." Like, I would have been in deep shit. So yeah, I remember that was the last time I really played Destiny. And since then, my other friends who have had kids since then, they were like really on me, like, you don't play games anymore. I was like, dude, like I don't get sleep now. Like my daughter, like, I was trying to be a good attentive father and all that stuff. And I didn't play games really for, I would say maybe 3 to 6 months, like as I was just so busy like adjusting to fatherhood and stuff. But I always remember the last game I played was Destiny, and by the time I did try to get back on a Destiny, all my friends had leveled up and they had changed. Remember, the leveling system was now based on light, how much light you accrue. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is not what I remember when I played. And it got to the point I was so weak. My friends who I've been playing with since Halo, they were like, they stopped inviting me to raids and playing with them. So it was kind of like a sad situation.
It's just like Kyle, sorry, but no.
yeah, pretty much. And that's why I've made it clear that my favorite games now as an older gamer are more like one player campaigns because none of my friends want to have me play anymore.
You basically ended up alone.
I ended up alone. So that's why I play Assassin's Creed and Hitman and Fallout. Like those kind of one player games because I see my friends online, but it's just like the sad tear comes down my cheek. I'm like, they don't even invite me when they see me online. They used to message me like, jump in. Now they're just like, oh, like, how are you doing? All right, got to go back to it. So anyway.
Oh, the dad.
Yeah, and they're dads now since too, but ironically, a lot of them have morphed from going from console gamers to PC gamers. Like they bought PCs, like rigs, because they want like the highest frame rates and best graphics. So that's another thing too. Even though they have crossplay, I still get kind of laughed at because they're like, "Oh, he's still playing on a PS5," and I was like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like. Be thankful I'm still playing, like
Exactly.
So that's my memory of Destiny.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Like, yeah, no, it's actually quite nice because I have those memories of Battlefield actually, like playing online with friends as well. But yeah, no, for Destiny is exactly what you mentioned. Like I remember, like everybody. So Halo, even though I've been like a PS5 player most of my life or so, but Halo has like a special place.
Oh man,
and it's not because classic, but it was not because I played it a lot. But I just remember as a QA tester when I started really early on, 2002 or so, like that.
Right.
Like we played Halo. I think it was 1 or 2. I don't know exactly which one. And I remember perfectly that, like, I knew that game was special because we were QAing games 8 hours a day, every single day, sometimes 7 times a week, for Microsoft Xbox Live, right? All the time. And what did we used to do in our spare time? We used to have food quickly, and then there was like one console in the canteen that had Halo on it, like one of those display stands for the Xbox.
Yeah.
And we would go and play Halo, right, while we were having our break to then go and play the QA game. And I was like, man, like this is nuts to think that a game is so good that even though we're playing all kinds of amazing games, like AAA games like Red Dead Revolver and like Knights of the Old Republic and things like that, like classics, we would leave those games, play Halo when we had time, and then go back to those games again.
Wow.
And I remember that game was like better than everybody because the soundtrack, first and foremost, that's
when you boot up the game and the voices.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like it was so cool, man. He just gives
Yeah.
you like a little bit of a shiver, like, "Ah, man,
Yeah.
this is so dope," and then you play it. So to think years later that that team, pretty much all of it, kind of came out of that Halo team of Bungie to then like kind of like found like the whole Destiny team.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool to think that like, because to me I had a journey as well, because I became a developer at that point and looking up to them, and they were
Right.
like one of the biggest ones and stuff, and there was also 343 Industries and things like that, but
Right.
like they were like the you know the
Oh,
the
that team
bomb.
could do anything they wanted, man. Like, I mean, just
So
off the IP of Halo alone, like
yeah,
anything they
exactly.
wanted, they could be greenlit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I don't think people understand how like important Halo is as an IP. People know of Halo because it's Halo,
Right.
but if it wasn't for Halo, there would be no Xbox. And like in the people at Xbox actually said that, like like Phil himself, the head of Xbox on
Right.
the Halo 25th anniversary, they actually said specifically that if it wasn't for Halo, there would be no Xbox, because like
Wow.
we used to move so many consoles. People used to just buy an Xbox to play Halo, and that's it. Like that's it. It was like Call of Duty nowadays,
Yeah.
if you think. So Halo is massive. So yeah, that shift to me as a developer now, I was like, man, they're gonna do amazing things. And then it was the first time that I saw a developer seriously doing live service, because everybody was talking about it at that point, and it was like the very beginning of live service, and everybody was like, oh, we're gonna release every 3 months, you're gonna have something different, and it's gonna be great and stuff. And what they used to do is like another map. Like I remember, like Battlefield used to have
Yes.
Battlefield.
Yes.
Yeah, Battlefield used to have like a new map that you can actually like download, right?
Right.
Like there was like you would release Battlefield 1, and then basically you'd have like the DLC package that would come out 6 months later. That is
Right.
basically more maps and more soldiers and more skins and stuff. That was what's considered like the live content. But Bungie, the Destiny team basically took it to another level, because you could see the game just changing constantly all the
They would
time.
make new worlds, literally new planets for you to explore, which is
New
kind of
planets,
crazy.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
cadence was like so
Yeah.
on point. The animations were on point. The systems were on point. Shout out to
Yep.
Richard Lico for the animations. He was the head of animation at that point, and
Got you.
the animations at Halo at Destiny are what they are because of Richard Lico, and yeah, they basically kind of like changed the whole system of like what the live service is, because they took it seriously. And at that point, people were kind of wondering, but how long can you truly kind of like keep a game alive? Most likely it's going to be a couple of years. They're going to realize that they cannot actually keep it alive for more than 2 to 3 years, because at that
Right.
point, no other game was kind of like really like super successful 2 or 3 years down the line.
Right.
And then look at them 10 years later, they're still here.
Dude, it's amazing. I the same friends I mentioned who kind of ridiculed me for not playing. I know they still pretty much regularly. Well, now they play Helldivers more than that's the
Oh yeah,
game they. Yeah. But they were playing Halo, not Halo 2, Destiny 2, and all the DLC like pretty regularly up until I guess Helldivers. To be honest with you, like, so that's crazy. That's almost a decade run.
It's
You know?
crazy. It's a lot of work as well, man.
Yes,
And
yes,
the amount of times that they actually had to reinvent the wheel to make sure that to keep it fresh and to keep
Right.
it engaging and stuff. Because I mean, if you think about it, how many times people said, "Oh, it's played out, like it's just Destiny, they're doing the thing,"
Right.
and then people play other games, just like, "Yeah, but my clan is in Destiny, and my character's leveled up, and they
Right.
have this new thing that I want to do," and it's just nice, man. It was like one of those easy games they can just put on, and like you and your friends can just kick some ass, and it's awesome.
Man, well, on top of Destiny, the other two games I listed that I remember, again, this was a year that I didn't play as many games as, especially towards the end of the year when my daughter was born. But I remember the other two games that came out were like big game of the year contenders or winning all the awards were Dark Souls 2.
Yep.
Do you remember that? Yep.
I remember that, absolutely.
And Dragon Age Inquisition, which is crazy because people have been like clamoring for this next Dragon Age for like so long. Like BioWare, man, I don't know what it is about their IPs between Dragon Age and Mass Effect, but people religiously, and I'm one of those people, I love Mass Effect. I look for new updates on Mass Effect 5, I guess like every other week,
Yeah, it's a good game, man. It's a great game.
for sure.
Yeah. So we're talking about both, or
Yeah,
just
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Any memories that come to mind with Dark Souls 2 or Dragon Age? And I have a couple honorable mentions too, but
Yeah.
those are the three.
So I think to me, like Dragon Age is like definitely bigger. Dark Souls, like I never been a big fan of Dark Souls, and
Nope.
mainly because not only do you die a lot and you have to be like really good with dying, but also like the narrative side of things, even though it's not super, like it's good 100%,
Right.
especially if you
Right.
complete the game, if you actually grind for the game, and the feeling of finishing the game must be
Right.
absolutely amazing. Once again, going back to our times playing Onimusha and Ninja Gaiden and all these hard
Right.
games, it
Right.
must be the same. Like whenever you finish one of those, you're like,
Oh, it's you feel
oh,
something like, yeah.
it's special. It's special. Like this is hard. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like even back then, we used to say like I just finished Onimusha for the second time. We're like, what? How? Right? But yeah, like I think that like to me, like Dragon Age was definitely the better game for me, and I think it's because BioWare tried something different. Also, I think at that point, BioWare went through a bunch of different changes, and I had a few friends that actually worked there, and it went through the changes of like the between like the Mass
Not.
Effect.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, between Mass Effect 1 and 2, and then I think Dragon Age came out, I think it was between 1 and 2, or maybe between 2 and 3, or something like that. Like, they actually went through all the changes, and the level of creativity that they had at BioWare was, like, off the grid, like, was
Right.
insane, right? And then they made it, and once again, they made another amazing game, was way more narrative, less hard than a Soul game. You can definitely tell that it's much more Western, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
you can play the game and die less and get to know the story a little bit more. And
Right.
there's still dragons and stuff. So it's really, really cool. So
It
that's
better be.
my
It's Dragon Age, you know? Like.
exactly, yeah, Dragon Age without dragons.
Right.
So
Right.
but yeah, like that's my memory of Dragon Age, and I remember how much of a ripple effect that he had in the industry, because it was really well put together.
Okay.
The graphics of that game when it came out was absolutely insane.
I
Like I
remember
remember,
everyone
like
talking about that.
beautiful. So yeah, man, that's my memory from that game at that point.
The other ones I kind of listed. I mean, honorable mentions is funny though, because two of these were like ones I did play the year they came out. It was Assassin's Creed Unity. That was I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I've talked
Yeah.
about and expressed my passion before, but this one was the first one I played, and I played the original Altair, the Ezio ones, which was basically a trilogy. And so this one was Assassin's Creed. It would have been 5 in the canon of Assassin's Creed, but they call it Unity. It was based in France. And this is the one they really start expanding with, like, multiplayer, having you could recruit assassins and build a guild. Like there was like a kind of like, like a settlement building kind of situation that expanded in this one. But I just didn't get into it as much. I remember I played it, and I was just like, it had a lot of had to have a lot of patches too, because there were a lot of glitches, like game ending glitches that came out. So I remember patches that came out almost immediately. And we talked about this, like when, what is that game that we always talk about that had a lot of what is it?
Cyberpunk?
Is it Cyberpunk or yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah,
Yeah,
how
sure.
that when that game came out, there was like an immediate patch to like I
Absolutely.
remember there being like similar things with Assassin's Creed Unity as well.
Yeah.
And one of the other honorable mentions I talked about, this game actually was probably my favorite game to play that year, was The Evil Within.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
yeah, by Bethesda and Tango
That's
GameWorks.
GameWorks.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, and I've always been a big horror fan. I liked Resident Evil, but The Evil Within was on a whole nother level of just
Yeah.
macabre and darkness, and like more in your face jump scares. The enemies were like very intimidating. And it's funny because I would play it. I would like be with my daughter, put her down for a nap, and then try to run off and play it. And I would play it with headphones, and it would be times I'm like listening for her to like make a noise, so I know I need to go tend to her, but also like hearing someone like creep up on me, and like it was and I was playing it at night, so it was like
Yeah, yeah.
I
Try
was
not to
probably not
scream.
doing myself a
Yeah, just to
Exactly.
make the kid, right?
Giving
Yeah.
myself my own jump scares. But yeah, man, what a great game. Even within, like, I wish they had made a third one, but now that the studio is done, I don't think that's gonna happen, you know? So
Yeah, like I guess it's like Left for Dead, right? It's difficult. Like you
yes,
don't see
yes.
a sequel happening of that, even though it's like so popular and people still play it nowadays.
Right, right.
It happens a lot with zombie movies, zombie games, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The last one I have on this list of honorable mentions for celebrating a 10-year anniversary is kind of, I can't even believe it's not like one I started off with, is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Oh
Um,
wow. So how long?
do
How
you?
old is that?
It came out 2014, so that's so
2014.
Advanced Warfare. And that's the thing, Call of Duty, man. There's so
Yeah.
many damn Call of Duties. Modern Warfare. What are
Oh
they
my
up to?
God.
Modern Warfare 3 now. Like,
Yeah, they keep rehashing the names as
yes,
well, which makes it
and
even
they were
more
switching.
complicated.
Right.
Yeah, I actually give kudos to yeah, Battlefield. Battlefield, because Battlefield until recently was like the biggest competition of Call of Duty, and they
Right.
at least had like semi-sequential numbers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Battlefield
Right.
One, and then they had Battlefield Five after Battlefield One, so it's not super sequential. But at least you have some numbers to actually deal with. But yeah, like I think Advanced Warfare was that the one in space?
I think that is the one in space because Modern Warfare is like modern. Then
Yeah.
it was like the classic one. Advanced was the one where yeah, it looked like weapons from Fallout or like Dead Space. Like
That's it, exactly. Yeah, because that game tanked in the end because they
yes, it
had like
did. That's what
yeah.
happened as an honorable mention.
Exactly, yeah, because I remember the reviews of that game, and I remember like at some point they go to a space station just above Earth, and
Yes.
they have to fight it in low gravity and stuff. And I actually like give them kudos for like the originality of it
Right.
because
Right. What? Try
they have to
something
come up
different. Right.
they have to come up with something different. And at that point,
Right.
they had Battlefield on their heels, and Battlefield because I don't know if people listening to this understand at this point, especially if you're a young Call of Duty player, like Battlefield. There was years that Battlefield was bigger than Call of Duty, and there's years in Call of Duty that was bigger than Battlefield.
Of
Like, but
course.
they used to kind of like almost like fight each other off. It was very rare that both of them released a good game
Mm-hmm.
same year. So when Battlefield 1 came out, which was a really good game, Call of Duty messed up and they released some, I think it was like an old school, like World War One or World
Right.
War
Right.
Two,
Right. Right. Right.
but it didn't really pan out the same way. And because they actually had like what they tried to do in World War Two and Call of Duty, they could actually make some connections there because Battlefield One was World War One. So like they're always kind of like like kind of like pitted against each other in a way. So yeah, like that's basically until recently. But then like Dice messed up the last couple ones, so they kind of like left a little bit of the conversation. But I do commend the team at Activision for always, at least until recently, to come up with new ideas. But I think that cycle kind of broke when they actually did Modern Warfare, because I think they actually were trying different things.
Right.
Modern Warfare was, when it came out, it was the most, like, I remember perfectly when they showcased the cutscenes with with night filter, when they
Yes.
actually
Yes. Yeah. Night
like with
vision. Yeah.
night vision with the
Yeah.
goggles and
Yeah.
stuff. Like at that point in time, that was the most like next gen thing that you ever seen. I was like, this looks like real. It's like somebody has shot
Right.
this in, but it wasn't. It was incredibly well put together. The mission, the single player mission. I never played online, but I always played the single player mission. And I remember this is the closest thing to a movie. Like it's so interactive and
It
stuff.
was. Remember they started like tapping like big artists like Eminem did an exclusive song for the launch of the game. Then they would put real actors in there I was like, it's almost like it's a movie. You know what I
It's a
mean?
movie, exactly.
Yeah.
I think their biggest strength became the biggest demise, I think, because
Right.
they are so popular, they are so big. It's very much like FIFA. And the reason why EA doesn't really kind of like change things up with FIFA,
Right.
because like I remember playing FIFA in 1997, 1998, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And on a PC, right? It was like it was not the first FIFA, but it was one of the first FIFAs at that point.
Right.
And that showcases how old FIFA is. And I remember FIFA trying different things, like completely revamping, adding new shaders. FIFA Street. Do you remember FIFA Street? Like
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
one,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
right?
just like the NBA and NFL streets.
Yeah, exactly. They had like a street like EA
Yes.
Sports. Like that brand had a thing as well that
It
actually
was
tried
cool.
different
It's like more arcade kind of
more
like
arcade.
Yeah.
Absolutely, with a big head sometimes and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
So they tried. But then it got to a point that everybody was like, "This is horrible because it's not FIFA. This is horrible because it's not
Just
FIFA.
give us
Why are you
FIFA.
changing it so much? Why like stop changing the game so much? Like we just
Right.
want them like a little bit better." But and then basically it's just the same game, but just like with 5% increment better, and that's about it. And that seems to satisfy the audience. And I
Right.
think Call of Duty has kind of the same thing. Like it's very much like the identity of Call of Duty is modern warfare. That's basically what it is. And
Right.
then it's stuck and people like it. Don't change it. Keep it as it is. Why
Yeah.
you messing with my time to kill? This takes too long. This takes too little. It's yeah, it's slightly controversial, but I think the game is too big now. It can
And
actually be changed.
people know every fall, every November, there's gonna be a new Call of Duty. Like just like
Yeah,
there's a new Madden, a new FIFA.
that's
It's
it.
it's amazing to me like that these games.
Yeah,
But also I'm realizing we talked about this and you were kind of explaining like because
yeah,
it's so incremental, like it that's why and the teams that are working on them are massive. So like, I was like,
yeah.
how is this possible that certain games take 4 years and this game literally comes out every year like clockwork? But
It's crazy. The amount of work that it takes to make a Call of Duty is very different from the amount of work that it takes to make a FIFA. To make a make a FIFA, like even though it takes a lot of work, like it's less work for sure.
right,
Than
right,
Call
right,
of Duty. Call of Duty is hard to make. It's
right.
hard, especially if it has a
Wow.
single player campaign. That's like 2 games in one. It's insane.
Well, before we go into the next phase, which games are celebrating their 20-year anniversaries, I wanted to ask you something because obviously with you working at Dice, I know the big thing when Battlefield came out, and I remember this. Shout out to one of my good friends, Carlos. He was one of the friends who was kind of like I used to play Halo and Destiny with that kind of shunned me. I love Carlos, so I can say that he kind of shunned me when I stopped playing. He's like, "You never play online anymore," but he was all about like where some people were all about Call of Duty. He was very excited about Battlefield, and I remember he always used to talk about what is it, the Frostbite engine? It was like this. Yeah, yeah. It was like where everything would be like the way it like debris and stuff, and I was like, that is amazing. I remember that's all he talked about. He's like, the settings are so cool when you shoot things; they actually look like they,
Yeah.
how it is in real life. Can you tell me a little bit about because you
Oh
worked
man.
in, yeah,
Yeah. I worked in Frostbite.
yes,
Like I can make a whole episode to talk about
yeah,
this.
okay. And
But like
maybe we will do that. I don't know.
the rule exactly,
Yeah.
but like there's so much to say because I think so. Like Dice started like way back in the day as a technology company that built an engine, and the engine was like
Okay.
super powerful, and it was basically a sandbox engine. And funny enough, at that point in time, and this was like because Dice is like 25 years, maybe now getting to 30 years or so.
Right.
So like they would have been like late 90s or so, and they were not the only one because Avalanche Studios that actually kind of like the ones that actually did the whole Just Cause. That's what they were.
Just Cause. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Open World. Yeah, that game is amazing too.
Exactly. So like both studios made open world like engines capable of dealing with a bunch of stuff and destruction and stuff.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
Dice's engine was better and more
Okay.
capable, and they just flew with it, and they got so much talent in it. But like, funny thing is, till this day, and like somebody like big YouTubers that actually are onto Call of Duty now, they will tell you this. Like, there's one that is one of the biggest ones called Jack Frags. He has like 5 million followers or something, and he was a massive Battlefield player. And it's funny because Battlefield is so complex and is so well put together that Battlefield players look down to
On Call of Duty play.
yeah,
Wow.
but they have reason to look down like to the Call of Duty players because there's a bunch of tech that is much better in Battlefield that Call of Duty never had, and they're just starting to have it now.
Okay.
And they're trying to kind of take some of the Battlefield stuff. They already have some modes that they never had, and they introduced it in Modern Warfare. There was more Battlefield because of that competition, right? But one of the biggest things is basically what's called hit scan and actually or heat registration and I forgot the name of the Frostbite version, but basically it's the idea that a bullet, when you shoot that bullet from your weapon, when you actually have a target in front of you, let's say it's like a headshot, right? You
Right.
actually and you are a sniper. If you're actually very far away, you shoot that sniper rifle, and then the game calculates that your reticule it's actually around here, and the opposite player, is around here. The hit scan, this is what Call of Duty does, basically knows that this is a headshot, and automatically the bullet doesn't travel. It just goes, the guy's dead, right? But what Battlefield does, and they do this in many things, that doesn't matter if it's tanks or planes flying or whatever, when a bullet comes out of the rifle, it's actually a projectile that actually travels over time to actually hit the player on the other side.
Right.
And this is why it's better than hit scan, because with hit scan in Call of Duty, you have a lot of time you feel like you just can just like pop up, pop up, pop up, and just really quick. This is why the quick speed of Call of Duty, while Battlefield has lower speed, and it's because when you shoot that bullet, you have to wait a while in order to actually go like
because it needs to travel and it might hit something else.
Exactly. In Call of Duty, it was very much you shoot that rifle, and then the same amount that it will take you to kind of kill somebody in front of you with a pistol is the same time that it takes you to actually kill somebody with a sniper.
Okay.
And that's the difference between the two games. Like the whole philosophy of the game is completely different, because Battlefield is all about grounding the player. So if you have, for example, if you have an airplane in midair and you have also an airplane and you jump out of the airplane, you have the time that it actually comes down. And this has happened. This is reality. This actually has happened. If you jump out of the airplane, you have a parachute, right? Before you have the parachute deployed, you can actually have weapons like kind of come out, or even with the parachute as well. If you jump out of the plane with a grenade launcher and you actually kind of shoot at the plane that is flying, that plane will get destroyed, and the physics will actually kind of fall on the floor and will destroy whoever is on the floor as well.
Right. Like probably in real life, that's how it happened. Right.
Exactly. And because of that, like they came up with a slogan of "only in Battlefield," which was huge. Okay. I don't know if you heard about this, but it was huge.
Yeah.
Like only in Battlefield moments, and YouTube was full of them like 10 years ago. So, and it was because of these moments, right? Like you could actually make something that nobody has seen before, like happen. And one of those moments was when somebody came out of a jet plane, like ejected
with a grenade launcher. That's crazy.
Like, destroyed a plane and then came down. And then they actually had a nod to the player that did that on Battlefield 5 or 2042 or something. Right. That they actually had a cutscene of a player doing that. And
that's pretty cool.
And the people that knew about Battlefield were like, "Oh no, he did! Oh no, he's the thing!" So yeah, that's basically Battlefield. It was huge. So it's a bit sad that the last couple ones haven't been that great.
Right. Well, maybe that's because you're not working on them, man. I don't know.
I worked in one of them that is not considered the best, but it's not the worst. It's Battlefield 5. I worked.
You're like, as long as it's not the worst, like.
No, the one that is considered perhaps the worst, maybe, is the one that came out last, which is 2042. The one I was not there for that one. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, moving along from 10 to 20-year anniversaries. You mentioned this game earlier, man. You mentioned you were doing your testing it. Halo 2. Can you believe Halo 2 is 20 years old?
20 years old makes me feel so old, but at the same time makes me feel happy that I was there to witness the magic.
What is your fondest memory of like testing or just playing that game? I know you were mentioning like how you all would be testing other games, go into the break room and continue playing Halo. Was like while you were testing, was there any levels that you remembered like, oh my God, I can't wait till people play this level because this level is crazy, or like this level sucks? Like
I remember, I think that was the first game that they actually had what's it called? It's called the bar log. You know that vehicle that is classic?
Oh yeah. The Warthog.
The Warhawk, that's it, not the Barlow.
You're close.
That's actually the game director of God of War, the new latest one. It's Corey.
Really?
That's what I was thinking. the Warthog, yeah, exactly. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that was the first time that you would have those vehicles in the game, because I think the first one that didn't have it. Mm-mm. But I remember the physics in that game were amazing, right? So going back to that Battlefield situation, like the physics of you being able to jump on that vehicle, getting taken to a certain place with your mates, being able to jump out of the vehicle, shoot somebody, and then go somewhere else, and then jump up back in the vehicle and stuff. It was really, really, really cool. I also remember the animations and the sounds because we had to have headphones. I remember like just standing around and just shooting things, and that like the pistol, just the pistol, the
Right.
basic pistol that you actually have by default that looks classic nowadays.
Right.
Or even the one that I forgot, which was the equivalent, but the alien one that has like little spiky
Oh
things.
yeah. Oh my god. The Needler.
Needler.
The Needler was so dope because you would shoot it and it would take a few minutes, but once they all like plucked, then the person's like, ugh.
Exactly. So I remember comparing the two and being like, this feels like so good. Like when I pressed the trigger, because I never
Right.
really felt that in a game before Halo, but it kind of showcases the details that they had in that game that you couldn't see in games. Other games, you very much like you have the pistol, you have one frame, and then you have the sound after, and
It had
feels
the
like,
kickback, like you felt like you were really shooting it. Like
felt like you're really shooting it. Like there was
Yeah,
something to it, like that you can find in a lot of games. Like I don't know, Apex has it,
Yes.
and all that stuff. That now is normal, right? People
Right.
expect it.
But
Modern
Halo
Warfare,
was the original. I feel like that was the one. Yeah.
the weapons, every weapon felt so nice to shoot. Yeah, so that was what I remember, and I remember the fun, man. Like everybody had smiles playing that game, man. It doesn't matter if it was capture the flag or any other mode.
Right.
It was so good. Like to me, did you actually play Unreal Tournament back in the day on PC?
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So do you remember when Unreal Tournament came out? The Unreal Engine was like very much like, oh, look at this. I remember looking at the reflections. I remember looking at like the whole thing. It's like the lights, and it was
Right.
like night and stuff. And when you played it, it was like you felt like it was like about 1,000 frames per second because it was so smooth. It was probably like 10 frames a second, but at that point in time, it was the smoothest thing that you ever seen. So it felt amazing. So Halo 2, to me, it felt like the next upgrade, similar to what Unreal Tournament was, right? And when you played it, you had always a smile, and it was so quick. It never hitched. There was no bugs. Everything was clean. It was like the example of the perfect game. And everybody used to talk about Halo as the perfect game for everything: sound, gameplay, weapons, mechanics, level design. It's just Halo. You want the perfect game?
Halo was it. Do you I remember playing, oh my god, I mean literally in my head I can just hear the voice Team Slayer. Like because that's the mode we used to play. We used to play 2 versus 2. Me and my buddies, my buddy Carlos, who I mentioned earlier, he and I were a team versus my other buddies, Keon and Davey, my neighborhood homies. And we used to go over my friend Davey's house. At his house, sometimes we would play online, but sometimes we would all meet up, and he had a huge TV, big enough where everyone had a quadrant of the TV. So even though you could cheat and look at the other person where they were, like the TV was so massive, you would just be locked in, or we would play like a landline situation. But I just remember ordering pizza, playing that game literally until like the next morning. Sometimes we would play so many matches, and the stage and I want to ask you this: what was your favorite stage? Because the stage we used to play the most and love the most was Blood Gulch.
I don't remember the name of the stage that I liked. I remember it was very simple, and it was a capture the flag stage.
Okay.
And there was one that you could actually kind of like. One of the things, and I don't know if the first one had it, but do you remember they were not called the elevators? There was like these platforms they used to shoot you.
Oh I don't know what they called, but you hit them and they would just like send you flying to like another. Yeah.
Right, and that was actually inspired of Unreal Tournament. Actually, Unreal had that. Unreal had the same thing. It was just different. I think it was more of a cannon or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really well implemented, and the physics felt amazing. But there was one specific level that was in space that you had lots of those, and you spend a lot of time in air just kind of
going up and down. Yeah, because when you would get up, you would have like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, and then you felt so awesome to snipe people off the air with that level.
And then to see their body fall, the physics.
Just like you felt like the most badass player ever at that point.
Oh,
it was so
man.
cool, man.
It's funny too, because when I think about people celebrating when they kill people, Halo was the first game I remember playing online with other people and knowing like, wow, the internet is really bad because people calling you all kinds of words. And I won't even say,
100%.
but I remember what was the other, people used to come over your body and do teabagging where they would squat over you.
That's what he started. Yeah, that's exactly what he started. Like, what is he doing? And then you understand it. It's like,
and you're like so mad. Like, I can't wait till I respawn. I'm going to kill this mother. You know what?
But then it feels great the first time you do it. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
yes.
they're watching this.
Oh man. Oh man. I remember playing. I had a someone I was dating at the time.
Mm.
She was in law school. She came over to my house and I was like, she was studying for like law, like bar exams and stuff. And I was like, do you mind if I play with my friends? Like, and she was supposed to be sitting there like studying like law books, and she was just watching mouth agape at me like killing
Yeah.
people. And then at the end, she was like, I never knew you talk like this. Like this is a whole new Kyle. Like I don't know
Brings
if
the
I
worst.
want to talk to you anymore, because I was like, fuck you, dude, I'm gonna kill you. Like, and she was like, where did this come from? Like, and I was like, don't
Yeah.
ever come over while I'm doing this again, because
100%.
yeah,
Yeah. It brings the worst in you. It brings the
yeah,
worst in
yeah,
you.
yeah. It was, and she was like, then I would take the mic off and I was like, you got to hear what the other people are saying to me. And she was like, they just called you that? This is a little like kid. Like, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is welcome to the internet. Like,
That's it, man. Because there was no filters. There
there
was
was
no
no
empathy.
filters.
There was none of that going on. Yeah. Playing
Oh my,
LAN was way better than actually playing online because of that, right?
oh my, exactly. Cause you knew like who you were playing with, and you don't
You're
have to worry
playing with.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Oh my God.
like, just to segue onto that, do you remember people going to a place to play LAN? Because sometimes you can bring your
Oh
GameCube
yes.
or your Xbox or whatever, just
Yes.
plug it in and go to a forum or a shopping
Yes.
center and then play LAN and have like mini tournaments that you get
Yeah.
like a plastic statue. If you win it,
Yeah.
you have a badass. Do you remember that?
Yeah, people. My friends. Well, we never did it that big. Like we would like try to get like someone who had like a big enough apartment with with multiple rooms, and everyone would come bring their own TV and own console, and
Yeah.
just do LAN parties like that. College, we did it. And yeah, because Halo, the first Halo came out while I was graduating college. Not to date myself, but yeah, that was like the beginning of it all. And then when it started to be like we could play through Xbox Live in our own places, it was so like a game changer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Xbox Live was huge. Like it
oh
was the only
man,
one. It was the first time that you could play online
yep.
games properly.
And
Like
that, and,
before, they tried it. They tried it. Like
yep,
Nintendo tried it. Like Sony tried it, but you had to
yep.
buy attachments and stuff, and it just felt odd. And
It
the
was so
modem,
cool.
connecting that modem, that 56K modem, and waiting
Yo,
for
my
it to connect
God.
and have a successful connection. That stuff
Yes.
was just next level, man.
Xbox, man. All I remember is everything Xbox. I don't know, because I haven't had the last couple Microsoft systems, but it was like very green, like green plasma looking thing. Like everything, it felt like I don't know, just like it makes me think of those times. I was like, oh my God, here we go again, because it would tell you everything, initializing, connecting, and I was like,
That's it.
here we go,
So
like,
good.
or
It's
like.
gonna take half an hour to get there, but
Oh man, and people would be like, "Dude, you're lagging. Just your pings is sucks.
yeah.
Your modem sucks. Like hardwire. Like, yeah. Oh
You
my
bring
God, dude.
everybody down. Nowadays, it doesn't happen so much, but back then, yeah, you were
No
like,
man, we sound like old dudes, I'm sure, but
well,
it's just
it was good times, man. It was good
yeah,
times.
very
Too.
much so, very
It was the
much so.
beginning of a lot because yeah, people take for granted like the online situation right now, but
Right.
yeah, Xbox Live was a big thing back then, man. It was like
Oh
they
my
had so
God.
many things going for them.
Well, I'll talk about the couple other titles in 20 year, and then maybe we can just continue on another episode talking about the 30 year and the 40 year, because I'm sure there's going to spawn some amazing stories, especially since we grew up playing both. But just to round out, I guess, games celebrating 20 year anniversary, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, man. Can you believe it? 20
old?
years old.
20 years old, San Andreas.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the best one of them all, though.
I
Oh,
know.
my God. I have so many memories. I'll let you go first this time, and then I'll go after.
No, you go first, man. Because
Yeah,
be honest with you, like I was never that big of a GTA fan. This is the one I feel like I played the most, aside from what GTA 3. I
Yep.
didn't play Liberty City that much. I knew GTA more from just casually watching other people play and just seeing how crazy it was for them to go up
Yeah.
to someone and steal their car. And then I knew GTA was awesome because it had the radio, just me as an audio person. I was like, this is so cool. You can literally just drive around and just
Yeah.
listen to the music. So my biggest memories of GTA San Andreas was definitely this soundtrack, because it was very West Coast hip hop. And then the what was the thing you could unlock, the hot coffee thing where you could see it was like the woman was like half naked or something. It was like
Oh,
a
yeah. Controversial.
yes. Yeah, it was very controversial. So
Yeah.
I'll defer to you. Like, what memories do you have of
Like
GTA?
Oh man, there's two parts to this, right? There's
Okay.
like the developer and the player. So for me,
Okay.
when I was playing it, San Andreas was the only one that I was like, here's, to me at least, it was the first AAA game that people treated seriously a black character, and he was the main
Yes.
character,
Yes.
right?
CJ,
Before
right?
then,
His name was CJ.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because before then, like there was Def Jam Vendetta, there was like
Right.
Def
Right.
Jam, like there was a few games. There was like Black Centric, which was cool, but they were never AAA to the like status of like like a massive blockbuster kind of game, and they
Right.
never really had that. So for my memory, that's the first one. So that was the first thing that got me. Then it happened in the West Coast, and it was the perfect time because like Dr. Dre released like 2001 the album in
Yep.
99.
Yep.
Like there was Exhibit going on right now.
Exhibit.
Eminem
Snoop was
was
still
dropping,
making music.
Snoop was
Yeah.
still making music. It was like the perfect time because the West Coast was so huge at that point
Right.
that like it was kind of like it was a perfect game in the perfect zeitgeist that actually dropped at the perfect time, and it was the biggest game. And I think San Andreas was the one game that actually kind of like made GTA kind of have the polish and the appeal that they have right now. Like before, like San Andreas, if you think about it, they were kind of like it was cool, but it was kind of like clunky and not the best
Right.
thing.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
It didn't really gel together. There were some elements that worked really well, like driving a car was amazing, but like
Yes.
taking the car off somebody felt clunky. And then when you're in the
Right.
car, it's cool. And then when you get to the mission, maybe some missions are cool, maybe some of them not. I don't know.
Right.
Do you care about the story? Maybe not. Like you know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter so much. But on GTA 3, you cared. You wanted
Right.
to see CJ go through the whole like being a gang member or not being a gang member and
Right.
making
Right.
decisions
Right.
and going through the motions. So that was really cool, man. And I remember perfectly the first time that I got into the car, and then I went through the stations because the hip hop station was not even the first one. There was some pop music or whatever.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
then as soon as you get into a car and then you get into the hip hop station and you hear the tracks and the track selection, I was like, whoa, this is my jam. And then it just makes you feel at home. It was the first time that
Right.
I heard a game that actually had such an awesome selection of music that actually made you feel like you want to spend all of the time in the car, like driving in San
Just
Francisco.
driving
Like,
around. Yeah.
yeah, so it was so cool. So for me, yeah, San Andreas was the best GTA. GTA 5 is very much like an expansion of GTA San Andreas to
Right.
me.
And I
Like,
saw the new one with six is kind of going back. Like it's black character looks like at the
yeah,
center of it, but it's based in I think Miami or southern part of the
Miami
US.
is
So yeah.
male and female as well, so you can
Yes,
choose.
yes,
I guess
yes.
I don't know. I
Yes.
guess. But yeah, like San Andreas to me is like the definition of GTA is like GTA San Andreas. So I had a lot of time, a lot of great time. But then there's the developer side of me that the more I develop games, the more I respect the work that they did at GTA at Rockstar, which was really cool. But then I met more and more people from Rockstar as I was developing, and then on the last company that I was working full time, which was called Build a Rocket Boy, the audio director, because I was the animation director for that studio, the audio director was Greg, and Greg was the mind behind the GTA radio. He was the one that came up with
Whoa.
the idea, and he was the one that used to go to LA to kind of like record the songs and record the audio and come up with like different
Oh,
stations
dope.
and stuff. And to this day, if you ask anybody, any hardcore fan of GTA, when he goes to conventions, everybody like people stop him because they know that he actually created this thing.
That's
And
legendary because look how many. I mean, we've even talked about having a iteration of the radio station. You know what I mean? In
yeah,
the IP
exactly.
we're working on. So
There's
yeah,
so many people that used it after that. It's like the first
it's
time.
amazing. Yes,
It was
yes,
amazing. And
very
he
much.
is the most down to earth person, the most humble person I've met in the games industry, man. It's like
Ever. You're talking about in your wow.
probably ever. Like, yeah, probably one of the most. Like, I've met other people as well, but he's definitely one of the top 5 people that I've met. Because
Wow.
you talk to him, and he has like fans online, like talking about his audio work, and he's like
Right.
legendary when it comes to audio
Right.
design and all that stuff.
Right.
Because he led the whole department, and he was not just GTA. He was like very much like GTA and San Andreas. He's known for the radio, but he did Red Dead Redemption. All of the sounds and all the ideas behind those games, sound wise, it was all him.
So has he been at Rockstar? Like he's been there through all like I mean, why leave, right? Because you got GTA, you got the Red Deads. I mean, Rockstar is a huge. You know, it's gonna be a hit. You know.
Well, he left.
Oh, that's right, because he was with Bill the Rocket Boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
He was Bill the Rocket Boy, but you know, like I don't want to put the word in his mouth because obviously what he told me is confidential. But
Right,
like
right, right, right,
all I
right,
can
right.
say is that people obviously sometimes get tired and they want different things and they want to try different stuff,
Okay.
which is completely normal. But like you know, he has made so many great games and he has such an extensive career making games and like making successful audio games that are like
Wow.
sound absolutely fantastic. Even if he actually wants to come back or try something else, like everybody would take him.
Man, we need to get him on the show. I would love to talk to that guy. Like,
I can actually ping him a message because
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe he might be interested. He's like so cool, man. He's a cool
Okay,
guy.
yeah, especially because you said that fact that he's like so down to earth. Like I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I would. I'm trying to glean as much as I can from other people who work in this. On top of the fact that like he's worked on some like legendary IPs. So like,
yeah,
yes, yeah,
absolutely,
we'll
absolutely.
see
I'll ping him a
about it.
message to see if he's interested
Okay.
in joining the podcast because yeah, he's a really interesting guy. He's a really cool guy.
So I'm gonna spit out a few titles. It's funny. One of these will definitely resonate with you. These are the other ones that I noted that came out and are celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. One is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which is
Snake Eater,
yeah,
arguably the best, one of the best,
yeah.
definitely for sure.
Some people say that's the best.
Yeah, that's why they're doing a remake, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was just when I was visiting the East Coast back in DC. I was at a convention called BlurCon, which was right up our alley, right? Because you know it's for
Yeah, yeah.
Black nerds and stuff. And one of
Amazing.
the featured guests was the I can't remember her name. I have to look it up later, but it was the woman who sung the theme song for Snake Eater, and I didn't realize it was a black woman.
Wow.
And she's also done stuff for other like games and movies too, but like people were like in awe, and it made me realize like how big of a game that was, and just I forgot the scope of Hideo Kojima's games. They're like
Yeah,
events, they're like movies, like
100%.
yeah. I just remember I never finished that game, but my favorite character was the end, the old man, the sniper. Do you remember him?
I don't remember. No.
I mean, all the bosses had these cool names. There was the Quiet, the Fury,
Yeah.
and the end was literally one of the ways you could beat him. You could starve him out. He was like old, like and is probably close to 100 years old. And there was a thing with him. You could have a battle with him,
Yeah.
like laying there, a sniper battle, laying in the grass for days. And if you just wait a few days or like whatever, he would die
Wow.
because he's so
cool.
old.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that Kojima thinks about is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I don't know. So that was one of my biggest memories from that game. On top of the fact that I was like, oh, they're going backwards. Like you're finding out who was solid as Snake, and you know, like the history of it's.
Yeah.
Man, Metal Gear is like its own universe, dude. Because there's so much lore and canon with that. Like I can't
Yeah.
keep up.
I'm super sad that they actually let go of Kojima in Konami because we're never gonna have the two because they actually parted ways in bad terms. I don't know if you heard
Right?
about.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 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 That was a big thing.
fallout. But we'll never have Metal Gear and Kojima coming together ever
Right.
again. And,
Right.
and most likely, even if they were to ask him to come back, given how they actually parted ways, I'm pretty sure he would probably say, "Nah, I'm good."
No, right.
Especially with all his brand new studio being so popular and famous and successful, right?
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, like, it's a shame that we can't because if we actually get just one more, whatever it is, like I remember the one that I remember was Metal Gear 5. They came out for PS3.
Oh, was that the Phantom Pain?
Phantom Pain. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out, like, because I didn't quite understand all the faff about Metal Gear because I never quite like witnessed, like, I never played one very much and whatever. But that one specifically, I remember when it came out that everybody was talking about it, and then I also remember when it came out and people were reviewing it, they were saying great things, and then I was like, let me get it because I don't have any more games to play. Put it in, started playing it. Took about 3 days to install. No, it took about like an hour or two to install. and then I started playing it, and then I saw why these games are so talked about because the level of detail that everything has, and
Right.
it can be from the card box that actually
Yeah.
Art books now have like flappy things that when you put it down, the flappy
Yeah,
things
yeah,
go
you were
down.
seeing like the
There
yeah.
you go. Yeah, yeah. Like it can be anything. Like the way he crouches, the way he can do the stick down, the variety of takedowns that you have when you actually kind of break a fence. How he actually kind of like methodically takes it off and stuff. It's like, damn, this is a lot of details, man. It's like it's
Shoot.
incredible.
Next year will be the 10-year anniversary of Phantom Pain, which is crazy.
10 years already.
Yeah, that was I think 2015. Yeah.
That's insane. I need to play that game again, man. Like
Yeah, it's a great,
I
and it still holds up. It graphically,
graphically as well. Because
yeah.
I just bought a used PS3,
Oh yeah,
and
you should check
and
it
also
out.
I used Xbox 360 exactly for that reason because I want to check out some of these games that we just talked about. Because yeah, man, like if sometimes you feel nostalgic, but I also feel like the level of detail and how they actually. I just made a video about for my YouTube channel now about this. The level of detail and how they thought about gameplay and what makes the gameplay unique is not really seen nowadays because people are so hell bent in copying each other's formulas
Right,
and just like changing the characters and like jazz it up a little bit and that's
right.
enough. But at that specific times is all about like how can we make our game truly unique. And yeah, man, like when are we gonna get another Jet Set Radio or like
I don't know, man. And but it's cool you mentioned that because everything Kojima does is so it's a new experience. Like remember when all the trailers were going out for Death Stranding, people were like,
oh
"What the
man,
f
they
is
were
this game
losing their
about?" Like,
mind. Yeah, they were losing their minds, man. It was like I want to understand, but I don't
I
understand,
don't understand. I still
and
don't
that's
understand. I
okay.
bought the game and I still don't understand.
But the thing is, like, you don't understand, but you're okay with not understanding because
Right,
you're like,
and it's that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, exactly. Because you want to know when the game comes out, and
Right,
he's keeping it for him to himself because
right,
the game, like, he's not spoiling it. And then you play the
right,
game, and then you still don't understand, as you said, and then you go, but yeah, but it's art though. It's unique. It's
right,
nice.
right,
But that's basically Kojima, man. He actually has an aura thing for about himself that he gets games. He understands
right,
games better than anybody and understands what makes them so appealing. It's really cool.
man. Um, man, I feel like if I even mention these honorable mentions, it'll be a whole nother episode. Maybe
We're gonna
I'll put the pin. I'll
sure.
put the pin in this episode, and we'll start with the other honorable mentions for games celebrating the 20th anniversary, and then we'll go to 30 and then 40. And
Let's
yeah,
do it.
this has been cool, man. I was hoping we would definitely take a trip down memory lane, kind of reminisce, but wow, I thought we would at least get to like the 30-year anniversary. But that's
Yeah,
cool.
no,
That means, we're talking, we're sharing some memories as opposed to like, oh yeah, I remember that game. It was cool. Next,
next. Exactly. That will make
yeah.
for a very bad podcast episode.
No, that would be really not engaging at all. Like,
Exactly. No, but yeah, like it's always awesome to speak about these things, man. I think somebody was saying the other day about I think it was actually a joke about how like Gen X and millennials see things and how we actually kind of like talk about a lot of our cartoons and our animations and like we go back immediately we go back to the memory lane to how
yes,
awesome things were. And
right,
it's true though, like when you put like people of our age together, like we normally go down memory lane but in a positive way, and I think it's
right,
because things were still developing when you think about
right.
Xbox Live or Halo, or any like Call of Duty didn't exist and we saw it develop and stuff. I think this is why we actually kind of like go back and be like, wow. I mean, we were here when Pokemon, like I was already almost an adult when Pokemon came out. I was 19 or 18.
Dude, we lived through the whole idea of like the internet being born. We were like old enough to
Yeah,
remember it, whereas like our daughters will be like, it's here. Like,
that's it. Exactly. Yeah. And that's I think that's why we actually reminisce so much because we
right,
knew how things were before and now things are different, but
right,
there's positives and negatives through it all.
yeah.
And it's cool to reminisce, man. I love that.
I'll say that, as my parting thing that I think, and I'm obviously just being biased because I'm in the generation, but our generation, we have lived through some amazing things more than I feel like the amount of things that have happened in our lifetime. And,
Yeah.
hopefully we still got a long life ahead of us, but living through like the technological change going from more analog to digital, the internet, all the political stuff, even seeing now in the advent of AI, like it's pretty amazing that we could be living in our lifetime, we could see people living on Mars. We could see cars flying. Like, this is kind of surreal.
It's insane. It's like the stuff of dreams.
Yes,
Like,
it is.
and I think seeing things coming full circle as well is what I like a lot, because like even games as well. Like I keep saying all the time, like we are in a young industry and all these other things and all that stuff. And I think we need to make an episode about this. Seeing people going back to retro games, the amount of people that actually are collecting consoles, are collecting games now because like they either love it or they don't find the game nowadays that satisfy them because there's so much multiplayer.
So they
and
go back.
Right. So you go back to the games. PS4, for example, still selling a lot. I think PS4 still accounts for about half of Sony's profits.
That's crazy.
And this 4 years later, which basically hints that they are selling more games on PS4 than they're saying on PS5, right? Wow. Because of the catalog being bigger, which equates to a cheaper console, and you get more games and more variety and quality games, right? And it still looks amazing. So anyways, going back to that circle of like people appreciating old games again, and kind of like, this is a really good game and it came out 20 years ago. It's really cool to see, because it means that, like, you know, it was not in vain, because for a long time there, the bargain bin for games was stacked.
Oh boy. Yes, it was.
The pound or dollar games that you could find, and it was like classic games. But 5 years later, it's like, yeah, you can get it for £1. Uncharted. It's like, but now I feel like people are starting to appreciate games and the history of games and where things came from, and there's a collector's thing going on, and it's cool.
Very much so. And you're right. It is considering video games have only been around for what, maybe 50 years tops, if that. It's young. It's not even a century. So
exactly. Yeah. When you look at the film scene, when, you know, if you actually want to get The Godfather, the ultimate collection.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, people collect that stuff and they really cherish that stuff, and it costs money. And if you go to eBay, it's never cheap. It's really cool. We need the same games, man.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, like I said, when we pick back up, we'll continue down this memory lane.
Let's do it.
But in the meantime, on behalf of Harvey, I'm Kyle K. Murdoch, and I guess on behalf of Proxima Studios, you know, we want to say, you know, thank you all for listening. Please let us know what your thoughts are. Send us some feedback. Ask us some questions that we can answer on the shows. Let us know what you think about the show and everything we do here at Proxima and Proxima.studios, where you can go. Find us on the socials. And I'll say peace. Until next time.
That's it. Until next time. See y'all.